Hello everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. And today is finally the video I've been saying with last week and the week before and been teasing about for a while. Today in Julie Andrews' history, the boyfriend. So the boyfriend was Julie's first big role, in a sense, I guess. It was the first thing she did outside of England and it won her a Theatre World Award. And even though it's not one of her most well-known roles, it was definitely what started the chain reaction that led to her superstardom in things like Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music. So I'll talk about the plot in a bit, but for now I'm just going to talk about the details. The show was written by Sandy Wilson and it actually started out in London rather than in America. But the two guys behind shows like Guys and Dolls and Can, Cypher, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Ernest Martin, had purchased the rights for Broadway and they wanted an entirely new cast for when they took it to America. So of course they hired a little English girl to be the lead because, I don't know, I don't think Polly's meant to be English. Anyway, so at the time Julie was playing Cinderella at the London Palladium. This was not the Rodgers and Hammerstein version that was, for all intents and purposes, written for her. That would be a few years later. So, Sandy Wilson and the director of The Boyfriend, Vita Hope, came and saw her in the production and, I'm going to quote Julie's memoir here, "The next thing I knew, I received a surprise offer of a 2-year contract to play the role of Polly Brown in The Boyfriend on Broadway." And so, obviously, she accepted. Sort of. Unlike everybody else in the cast, she only signed a 1-year contract because her family life was complicated. I'm not going to go into any details, you can check out her memoir for that, but there are a lot of problems going on with her home life. So she only signed a 1-year contract, but in the end that actually worked in her favour. So the show opened on the 30th of September 1954, so 65 years ago, and Julie made her Broadway debut the night before her 19th birthday. I'm actually filming this video on the 1st of October, so I'm filming it on her birthday. So today in Julie Andrews' history, Julie was born. Happy birthday, Julie! The show ended up closing in November of the following year, so the fact that she had signed a 1-year contract really didn't change all that much. So in the end, she actually only left a couple of months before the show wrapped up completely, rather than a full year. As I said, that ended up working out very much in her favour, because towards the end of her run, she received a phone call asking if she was interested in and available for a new musical that a certain duo called Lerner and Lowe had in the works. And I'm pretty sure you know where that went. Yep, that's right. My Fair Lady. So we've covered the details and now let's move on to the plot. The Boyfriend tells the story of Polly Brown and her friends who live in the Villa Caprice in the 1920s. And they're all looking for, yep, boyfriends. There are a few different romantic plots going on. But as far as Julie's character goes, Polly falls in love with the errand boy Tony, but they don't believe it can work because of the difference in their social classes. But as it turns out, Tony's got a bit of a secret. The good kind of secret. So you might be getting a bit of deja vu for another something Julie made. The Boyfriend really is the reason Thoroughly Mon Millie exists at all. They wanted to turn the show into a film, but they couldn't because of rights and contracts or something like that. So they changed the story up a little bit and voila, Millie. So if you know about Millie, I've probably just spoiled you for that secret Tony has. Sorry about that. I made a video last year, in fact it was almost exactly a year ago, about how the Americanization of Emily and the Tamarind Seed are so very similar in terms of certain aspects of their plot, but I think that was very much coincidental. The Boyfriend and Thoroughly Mon Millie are so similar to each other because they couldn't actually make the movie they wanted, so they created an almost identical story. But of course later on they were able to turn The Boyfriend into a movie with Twiggy. And so the final thing I've got to talk about is my personal feelings on the show, which, as you can imagine, is quite difficult because obviously I haven't seen it. The other movies in this series are exactly that, movies. So there's no problem being able to see those. Also, unlike My Fair Lady and Camelot, where Julie was able to put some of the show to film, even if it was only a couple songs here and there, I don't believe anything like that exists for The Boyfriend. Obviously there's the cast recording and you can find quite a few still images, but I don't believe any actual video footage of the original Broadway cast of The Boyfriend exists. My high school did it as their end of year production a long time ago. So long ago that I was actually in primary school. But I did get to see it because connected schools mean we always got to see the others play. But at the time I had no idea Julie had anything to do with the show. And honestly, I remember so little of it. In fact, the only reason I know the play was The Boyfriend was because I remember my friend's sister, who was playing Polly, singing the title song. That might actually be the only part of the show I remember. And so many years later I heard Julie did a show called The Boyfriend, and I listened to the album and she was singing the same song.
We've got to have, we want to have, for it's so dreary not to have that certain thing called the boyfriend.
And I made the connection, and so my personal feelings on the show really only extend to the cast recording. So really all I can say is the songs are great. I mentioned this in a video a couple of weeks back that none of the songs really blow me away, but I do really like all of them. My favourite would have to be I Could Be Happy With You, but they're all lots of fun, and I imagine the show is as well. And for the 50th anniversary of the show, Julie made her directorial debut and directed a production that ran from around 2004 to 2005. And that's everything I've got for you today, guys. This video was a little harder to put together than the others in this series just because it is a musical and it's not nearly as easy to see as a film, especially when the production you're specifically focusing on ran over half a century ago. But I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Let me know in the comments, did you know about The Boyfriend? Did you know Julie was involved? What's your favourite song? Have you seen it? And if you haven't, would you? I know I personally would. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long for a while.